So hello everyone, welcome back to the session. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the ecology and environment chapter, short answer questions. Okay. So far we have discussed more chapters, short answer questions. So in that line we are going to discuss about this ecology and environment, environment short answer questions. So this is regarding with this first year. Okay, so the first question will be, what is the summer stratification, and explain. Okay, so you have to define, the question demands what is summer stratification. You have to explain the definition. Okay, so you have to define them and you have to explain a little bit elaborate. Okay, so first you should know summer is a season, and the stratification means it is a layer. Okay, layer in the sense stratification means layer. Okay, so summer stratification refers to thermal layering. So summer in the sense we feel very hot. Okay, so that is what a thermal refers to temperature, and stratification means layering. Okay, so the summer stratification with respect to this water in lakes. Okay, so lake, we are having a lake. In that lake we are having a layer during a summer time. How that layering will be, so that is what a summer stratification. So in temperature lakes during the summer season, due to the temperature differences, so we have dividing this layer into three different layers, that is epilimnion, thermocline and the hypolimnion. So this thermocline is the one separating this epilimnion and the hypolimnion. Okay, so the temperature experiencing by this epilimnion layer will be 21 to 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, in the thermocline, so this is the separation layer, and in the hypolimnion so they are experiencing a temperature of 4 to 7 degrees Celsius. Okay, so first we are going to discuss about each and every layer one by one. Okay, so the first layer will be this epilimnion. Okay, so this epilimnion will be the upper warm layer of the lake. Okay, so in the lake this upper layer will be very warm. Why it is very warm? Because it will be exposing to the sunlight when compared to the hypolimnion. Okay, so the temperature ranges from the 21 to 25 degrees Celsius, and low density due to heating. So as it is more heat, the vibrations of each particle will also be higher. The density will be little bit lower when compared to the hypolimnion. And the second layer will be this thermocline. So this thermocline, it is also called as the metalimnion. So this metalimnion or the thermocline, this will be the transitional layer which is separating the epilimnion and the hypolimnion. Okay, so this thermocline which is lies below this epilimnion, just this is the epilimnion layer, and below the epilimnion we can find the thermocline layer which is separating the upper layer and the bottom layer. Okay, so here the temperature decreases by 1 degree Celsius per meter in depth. See, you have to understand this very clearly. So this is an epilimnion layer. So this layer is an epilimnion layer. So if we go 1 meter, okay, so here there will be 21 to 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is the thermocline layer. So this is the thermocline layer. When we go 1 meter below in the thermocline layer, there will be 20 degrees Celsius. Another 1 meter, there will be 19 degrees Celsius. Another 1 meter, here it will be 18 degrees Celsius. So for per 1 meter, 1 degree Celsius of temperature will going to decreases. Okay. So now after that, act as this thermocline is acting as the transitional layer between the warm and the cold layers. Okay, so this act as a transition zone. Now after that, this is a hypolimnion layer. This is the layer which is present below the thermocline layer. Okay, so the bottom layer of the lake. Okay, so this hypolimnion will be the bottom layer of the lake. This water is very cool, this is stagnant and has low oxygen content due to the lack of photosynthesis. So you have to note one point very clearly. So this is an upper layer which is an epilimnion. So in the upper layer, this layer exposed to sunlight. So whenever there is a sunlight, obviously the top layer of the organisms which is present in this top layer will make use of the sunlight for the process of photosynthesis. So they have the ability to synthesize their own food materials through the process of photosynthesis. When compared to with respect to this hypolimnion, there will be no sunlight. Okay, so as there is no sunlight, there will be no oxygen capacity. Why there will be no oxygen content? As a result of photosynthesis done by the plants or any other organisms, there will be an elimination of the water as well as the oxygen as the byproduct. So that oxygen will be used by the some other organisms in the top layer. So as there will be no sunlight, no photosynthesis. As there will be no photosynthesis, there will be no oxygen. Okay. So when compared to the epilimnion, the hypolimnion will be very dense, and there will be no oxygen, and it is very cool. Okay, so due to the lack of photosynthesis. So these will be the so this is with respect to this three layers, that is the stratification. Now comes to this atom overturn. Okay, so what is this atom overturn in atom season? Okay, so in atom season, this epilimnion cools to 4 degrees Celsius. As the decrease in temperature, the temperature is decreasing, so it becomes denser and it sinks as there will be no sunlight. Okay, now this results in the mixing of water layers. This is known as the fall overturn. Fall is nothing but an atom. So this is the difference between this American English and the British English. So atom means fall. Okay, so this causes a mixing of water layers as the epilimnion layer cools down, decreasing in their body temperature. Okay, so this results in the uniform temperature and distribution of oxygen and nutrients through the lake. See, so as there will be a mixing of layer, throughout the lake in the atom season, they are experiencing a uniform temperature only because of the mixing of these water layers. Okay, now not only there will be an uniform temperature, but also a distribution of oxygen and the nutrients throughout the lake. Okay, so this is very important, this atom overturn. Now that's all about this first question. Now the second question will be explain the Van Hoff's rule. So this rule is with respect to the temperature. Okay, so Van Hoff's rule was proposed by the scientist Van Hoff. So he is a Nobel laureate, okay, in the thermochemistry. So what is exactly the Van Hoff's rule in the sense? So with every 10 degrees Celsius increase, the rate of metabolic activities doubles. See, you have to understand this point very clearly. See, in the human beings, during the summer season, the metabolism, the digestion is very faster. Why? Because the temperature is there, sunlight is there. As there is a sunlight, the digestion process will be very higher when compared to the winter season. So that is why when in winter season we are avoid in eating some foods. Okay, why? Because it will be in difficult in digestion. So that is the reason the food habits in summer season and the winter season will be changed. Why? Because if the sunrise is higher, the temperature will be higher. As the temperature is higher, the digestion rate will be faster. Here the digestion is nothing but a metabolism. Not only digestion, all the metabolic activities in our body will be higher when the temperature is higher. Okay, so whenever in the winter season, when the temperature is low, our metabolic activities will also be low. Okay, so that is what here. See, here for example, in 20 degrees Celsius, the metabolic, say for an example, so in the 20 degrees Celsius, the metabolic activities will be 20. Just for an example. Okay, so in 20 degrees Celsius, the 20 metabolic activities will be 20. So if there will be 30 degrees Celsius, so in the 30 degrees Celsius, the metabolism will be 40. So this is what, with every 10 degrees Celsius increase, the rate of metabolic activities doubles. So this is very important. Now conversely, with every 10 degrees Celsius decreases, the reaction rate will be half, which means, so in the 30 degrees Celsius, the reaction rate will be 40. If the 30 degrees Celsius falls to 20 degrees Celsius, then again it will be half. Half means 40 by 2, again it will be 20. Okay, so this is what a Van Hoff's rule. Van Hoff's rule in the sense, this rule was proposed by Van Hoff. So he explains that with every 10 degrees Celsius increases, the metabolic activities will be double. With every 10 degrees Celsius decreases, the metabolic activities will be halved. So this is what the rule of Van Hoff. Now, what is temperature coefficient? Temperature coefficient will be this Q10 value. Okay. So expresses the effect of the temperature on the reaction rate. This calculated as Q10 and the rate of x degree Celsius divided by rate at x minus 10 degree Celsius. So what will be the metabolic rate at 10 degree Celsius, 20 degree Celsius? What will be the metabolic rate at x minus 10 degree Celsius? Okay, so this is what the Q10 value, which is temperature coefficient. Okay, so typical value in living systems. What will be the ideal value which is present in all the living systems means, so in the biological systems the Q10 value will be approximately 2.0, which is 2. Okay, so this implies the metabolic rate doubles for every 10 degree Celsius rise in temperature. So this is very important. So as what are all the key points here in the sense, this is proposed by Van Hoff, and you have to define what is Van Hoff's rule, and you have to explain what will be the Q10 value with one example, which means typical value in the living system. So this is sufficient for this question. Now, the third question, how do the terrestrial animals protect themselves from the dehydration? See, so here they are explaining about this terrestrial animals. So in the terrestrial animals, this is the land living animals. Okay, so terrestrial animals in the sense land living animals. So these land animals protect, how they are protecting themselves from the dehydration process. Dehydration means water loss. Okay, so terrestrial animals protect themselves from the dehydration. How they are protecting? Say for an example, kangaroo rat. So in the kangaroo rat, which is present in the North American deserts, See, this is the desert region. So in the desert, the water quantity will be low. Okay. So as there will be no scarcity of water, how do those animals will live? Okay. So say for an example, this kangaroo rat, which is present in the North American desert, this lives in the arid environments. Arid environments in the sense which is dry. Okay. Where we can see no external water source. Okay. There will be no water source. How their metabolism will be? See, how the metabolic water production, as a result of metabolism, water is getting produced. How? Meet its entire water requirement through oxidation of internal fat. So this is important keyword, kindly make a note of it. Okay, see, this metabolic water production, how the water is getting produced. See, this meets its entire water requirement through the oxidation of this internal fat. By oxidizing their fat, okay, they are, as a byproduct, they are releasing the water. They are releasing water as a byproduct, and they are making use of this water. So this process produces metabolic water as a byproduct. So what process will be producing the metabolic water as a byproduct? That is nothing but this oxidation of this internal fat. Okay, now urine concentration. See, basically the urine what are all the water we are intaking, it will be all the waste materials along with the water will be eliminated out through our physiological system. This is how the mechanism will be. Okay, so we can say whether that will be a diluted urine or it will be a concentrated urine. Okay, water is essential to eliminate the waste material. So this process I have explained you in the previous classes itself. Okay, why water is important to eliminate the toxic substances, or we can say the waste substances. Water in our body is essential only to eliminate the waste. Okay, just to eliminate the waste, the water should be eliminated out from our system. The remaining water, our body will not allow the remaining extra water to go out. Okay, beyond the elimination of the waste. Okay, besides, they have to reabsorb the water which is extra. Okay, so that makes the urine more concentrated. Okay, so as it makes the concentrated urine, they have the capacity to reabsorb most of the water. Right, now this minimizes the water loss during the excretion. So this is very important. This is how this terrestrial animals protect themselves from the dehydration process. Okay, now the next question will be, how do the marine animals adapt to hypertonic sea water? What is meant by hypertonic? Hypertonic seawater in the sense, seawater always have higher salt concentration. We know that when compared to our body fluids, the seawater have the higher salt concentration. Okay, so this is what this hypertonic, higher salt water. Okay, now higher salt concentration is called as the hypertonic. Now this marine animals lost water by the exosmosis, leading to the dehydration. See, marine animals, that is the seawater living animals, this marine animals lost water by exosmosis. They have to eliminate more water so that the water will not be stagnant within the body. See, the desert animals will reabsorb most of the water so that it makes a concentrated urine. But here, as it is a marine animals, they are having enough water, so that the water has to be eliminated more. Okay, so it should not be stagnant, it should not be stored within the body. So to avoid storing, most of the water has to be eliminated by the process of exosmosis. So this makes the marine animals body dehydrated. Okay, so what will be the adaptation of kidney? Here, how the kidney will get adapted to eliminate the water. See, marine fishes possess the aglomerular kidney with fewer nephrons. As there will be fewer nephrons plays a crucial role in reabsorbing the water. As the nephrons are very fewer, the reabsorption of water will also be less. Okay, so as there will be no glomerulus will be there, so that is why we are calling them as the aglomerular kidney with fewer nephrons. These kidney minimize water loss through the urine. Okay, so this is the what, minimizing the water loss through the urine. Now how the water intake will be, how the salt load will be. Okay, so they have to see, they have to be make sure the salt should not be stored more within the body. Okay, so that is the main thing, water intake and salt load. So marine fishes drink more seawater to compensate the water loss. Here they are having a water loss. So as they are having a water loss, they have to drink more seawater. Okay, as they are drinking more seawater, as we have studied before, the seawater have higher salt concentration. So this increases the salt load. Now this is, as there will be no more concentration of salt within the marine animal's body, this is the one disturbing the internal equilibrium, which means they are disturbing the balance in the internal body. Now how this salt is getting regulated within the body? There is a chloride cells in the gills which is secrete excess salts to maintain the salt homeostasis. Okay, chloride cells in the gills. So in the gills where they are having a cell which is called as a chloride cells. So they are the ones secreting the excess salts to maintain. They are also secreting the excess salts to maintain the salt homeostasis, which means salt balance. Okay, now adaptation in marine birds and turtles. How the marine birds and turtles is getting adopted. Okay, so see, seagulls and penguins eliminate the salts via the salty fluid from the nostrils. They are eliminating the salt through the nostrils in the form of salt fluids. Okay, now in turtles they are having a chloride gland, so the chloride gland ducts open near the eyes to excrete these salts. See, in the turtles they are also having the chloride gland ducts. As it is the chloride gland ducts, this duct is opening near the eyes. Through these chloride gland ducts, the excess salt in the body of the turtles will be eliminated out, which is present near the eyes. Okay, so now biochemical adaptation in cartilaginous fishes. So cartilaginous fishes is type of fish. So they are retain the urea and trimethylamine oxide in the blood. Okay, why they have to retain? So this keeps the body fluids isotonic to seawater, preventing the dehydration. Okay, see, they are retaining the urea as well as the trimethylamine oxide in the blood. So in the blood they are retaining the urea and trimethylamine oxide, TMO. Why they have to retain? This keeps the body fluids isotonic when compared to isotonic to the seawater, which means what? They are making the body balanced. See, seawater is hypertonic, which means salt content is very higher. Okay, isotonic means their body and the seawater, they are having equal proportion of salt. Okay, you should not compare the entire ocean with one single fish. Okay, the body volume of the fish and the water, they are necessary for the fish. Okay, so they are maintaining an isotonic condition. Hyper means when compared to the body of the fishes and when compared to the sea water, the salt content will be higher in the sea water. Isotonic in the sense, in the body of the fish as well as in the sea, their salt concentration will be equal. That is what an isotonic, right? So this prevents the dehydration. Now comes the greenhouse effect. So this question is very important. So greenhouse effect means, so see, this is an earth. So this is an earth. So this is the sun. Okay, so from the sun to the earth, there the rays, sun rays will be coming. Okay, so that is called as an insolation. Insolation means incoming solar radiation. Okay, so now in return, the heat of the earth's body. So whenever the earth is eliminating again the earth is also sending some rays to the sun. That is called as the terrestrial radiation. See, just listen to me very carefully. So there is a sun. The rays from the sun to the earth is called as an insolation. Okay, now from the rays from the earth to the sun it is called as a terrestrial radiation. Okay, so the rays coming from the earth, coming from the sun to the earth and from the earth to the sun, if it is in equal proportion, there is no concept of this greenhouse effect. But what will be happen in reality? Sun is giving the rays to earth and it is mandatory. That is what in incoming solar radiation insolation we are saying. So instead of sending back the rays from the earth to the sun, the earth's surface will not allowing the rays out of the earth to the sun. Instead of sending all the rays to the sun back, the surface of the earth is getting trapped. The layers, the gases are getting trapped within the surface of the earth. So this makes the earth's more temperature. Okay, a naturally occurring phenomena responsible for heating the earth's surface and the atmosphere. Okay, simply the temperature of the earth is getting more higher. So this is what a global warming. So as more temperature increase, so this is called as a global warming. So this global warming results in the greenhouse effect. Okay, now what will be the temperature impact? Without the greenhouse effect, Earth's average temperature will be minus 18 degrees Celsius, minus 18 degrees Celsius. Due to the greenhouse effect, the current average temperature will be the 15 degrees Celsius. So this is what the scenario. Now, solar radiation interaction. Okay, which means the sun, the radiation from the sun to the earth. Okay, 1/4 of the incoming solar radiation is reflected back by the clouds as well as the gases. See, absorption is also taking place. So, see, the sun is giving their rays to the earth. So, the incoming solar rays is getting emitted. Okay, so it is getting reflected. Some of the rays is getting reflected, some of the rays is getting absorbed. Okay, all the things are happening here. See, 1/4 of the incoming solar radiation will be reflected by the clouds and the gases. Okay, now a portion, some portion will be absorbed by the atmosphere. Nearly half of the solar rays will be reaching the earth's surface and it makes the heat. Now, a small part is reflected back from the surface. From the surface, some of the incoming solar rays will getting reflected back. Some will be absorbed. Some will be reaching the Earth's surface. This results in the heating of the Earth. And 1/4 of the incoming solar radiation will be reflected by the clouds and the gases. So this is what the incoming solar radiation interaction with the Earth. Now, this infrared re-emission and the absorption. Now, who is getting re-emitted? Who is getting reabsorbed? See, the Earth's surface re-emits heat as the infrared radiation. This is what a terrestrial radiation. Some of the heat will be re-emitted as which radiation? Infrared radiation. Okay. Now, this atmospheric gases like carbon dioxide and the methane absorbs a major fraction of this radiation, which means, so atmospheric gases, see, this the Earth's surface is getting re-emitted heat in the form of the infrared radiation. This infrared radiation is absorbed by the atmospheric gases like carbon dioxide and methane. Okay. Now, so these gases re-radiate the heat, much of which returns to Earth's surface, causes further warming. Okay. See, they have to re-emit from the Earth to the sun or to the space. Okay. But instead of sending back to the sun, so all these rays will be, again it will be absorbed by the atmospheric gases. Again this radiation re-radiate the heat once again, and this results in the doubles the greenhouse effect. So this is what the infrared thing. Now, what are all the gases is called as the greenhouse gases, which means those are absorbing the radiation. Carbon dioxide, methane are the key greenhouse gases. These are all the most important greenhouse gases. Now, as there will be more greenhouse gases, increase in greenhouse gases leads to excessive heating. This is the one results in the global warming. As there will be more carbon dioxide and more methane, this results in the excessive heating. This excessive heating in the Earth we are calling technically as the global warming. Okay, so this is the another important question. Now, so the sixth question will be, define the ecological pyramids and describes with the examples. Okay. Now, what is meant by this ecological pyramids? This ecological pyramid is in the sense, so this is what an ecological pyramid. So this is what a graphical representation. So this graphical representation of trophic structure function of an ecosystem. Okay, so this is an ecosystem. So the below trophic layer, first trophic layer will be the producer, second will be consumer, third will be primary, third will be tertiary, secondary consumer. So the each trophic structure will denoting the each layer in the ecosystem. So this represents the pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass and pyramid of energy at each trophic level in the pyramid shape. Okay. Now, so there will be a base. So this base is called as the producers. The producers always denote the first trophic level. Now, what will be the apex? Apex in the sense, so this is an apex, top layer. So this is called as a top level consumer. So this is also called as a tertiary consumer. So this will be the structure and it will be expressed in the graphical representation. So how many ecological pyramids in the ecosystem? So in the ecological pyramid will be graphed in based on the pyramid of number, based on the biomass, based on the energy. Okay. So for the ecology, the concept of ecological pyramid was first proposed by this, first represented by this Elton. So this ecological pyramid is also called as the Eltonian pyramids, as it is first represented by the scientist called the Elton. Okay. Now, what is meant by pyramid of numbers? So, pyramid of number in the sense, see, the producers, they are having 1000. The secondary, primary consumer, the second trophic level will be 500 and the third will be 300. So this is what a count. Okay. So as this is a count, then the pyramid will be, the first will be 1000, second will be 500 and the third will be 300. So the pyramid will be upright. Okay. So just the opposite. The producer will be 100. Okay, the secondary consumer will be 500. And the third tropic level will be 1000. So then based on the pyramid of numbers, this will be the scenario, which means the producers will be 100, the second tropic level will be 500, and the third tropic level will be 1000. So based on the pyramid of number, we can also say whether it will be upright or it will be inverted. Okay, so that represents the number of organisms at each tropic level. In each tropic level, based on the count of each and every individuals, we can draw a pyramid. Okay, so we are having an example for both upright pyramid as well as the inverted pyramid. Okay, so see, in the grasshopper, in the grass was eaten by the grasshopper. The grasshopper was eaten by the frog. The frog was eaten by the snake. The snake was eaten by the hawk. As the number of organisms decreases from the producers to the top consumers, so you can take the count. Okay, so see, just imagine the number of grass in an ecosystem and number of snake in an ecosystem. When compared to the number of snakes, the number of grass will be very higher. Okay, so that is why we can say this pyramid is the upright pyramid based on the number of organisms. Then what will be the example? Inverted pyramid, example for the inverted pyramid. So this is considered as an exemption. Okay, so we can say this as a parasitic food chain. Say for an example, this is not only the parasitic food chain, the tree food chain, tree ecosystem. Say for an example, there will be only one tree. And this one tree is considered, this tree is considered as a producer. So always the green plants are considered to be a producers. So we can say this producer will be only one. But in the tree, many bats will live, many birds will live, and many of the other organisms will also be acting as the take this tree as a habitat. So this tree ecosystem is also considered to be a inverted ecosystem. So now parasitic food chain, there will be only one host that supports many parasites. So higher tropic levels have more individuals. So based on the number, we can say this pyramid will be upright or inverted. Okay, so this is what with respect to the pyramid of numbers. Now the second thing will be the pyramid of biomass. Okay, now, so this represents the total biomass, mass of a living material at each tropic level. So at each tropic level, this leads to in each tropic level that refers to a total biomass. Okay, so this is an upright biomass. This pyramid of biomass is example for this upright biomass will be this forest ecosystem. So in the forest ecosystem, there will be many trees, and there will be a herbivores when the body biomass in the sense weight. Okay, so when compared to the biomass of the tree, the carnivorous biomass will be very higher. Okay, so biomass decreases from the producers to the top consumers. So there will be more trees. Okay, there will be more trees, there will be less herbivores when compared to trees, there will be less carnivores when compared to the herbivores. So this is what a pyramid of biomass. Now what is mean by this pyramid of energy? Pyramid of energy means, see, we have studied about this 10% rule, Linman's rule. Okay, see, whenever there is a producer, there is a primary consumer, secondary consumer. So when the energy is transferring from the producer to the second tropic level, first tropic level to the second tropic level, 10% of energy will be used by the second tropic level. Remaining 90% of the energy will be lost as heat. Okay, so the pyramid of energy will always be upright. So this is also very, very important. See, we have studied three different types of pyramid. One is pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy. So pyramid of numbers and pyramid of biomass can either it will be upright or it will be inverted. But the pyramid of energy will always be upright. So you have to make note of this. Now comes what are all the deleterious effects of depletion of ozone in the stratosphere. So we are having four different layers in the atmosphere. There is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Okay, so these are all the four different types of layer. So in the stratosphere, that is the second layer of the atmosphere, we are having a layer called the ozone. Okay, so there is a ozone. We can represent the ozone in the form of O3. Okay, O2 means oxygen, O3 means ozone. Okay, now this ozone is very important for the human survival. Okay, so now this ozone hole is formation. How the ozone is formed, how it is now depleting. Okay, what is the scenario? Okay, now ozone depletion is the most severe over the Antarctic region. But before explaining this question, I want to make sure that ozone is a gas. Okay, say for an example, there is a liquid. Okay, so just imagine the bucket of water. Okay, if you're shaking your water in the if you're shaking your hand in the water. Okay, so immediately if you take the water, if you take one bowl of water or one handful of water, that where you have taken the place, you should not see the, you cannot see the place empty. Okay, immediately that space will be occupied by the another some other liquids. Okay, so there will be no empty point in the liquid. Okay, see what I'm trying to say is, this is a bucket. Okay, and this bucket is full of water. Okay, and the bucket is full of water. Now you are taking one bowl of water here. Now you are taking one bowl of water here. As you are taking one bowl of water, immediately after you have taken, that space is built, that space will be filled by the nearby liquid. Okay, so for the liquid you can't see the space empty. So this, if this is a condition in a liquid, just imagine a gas. Even a small gap, even if you find the small gap, the gas can be gas can be diffused into that space. Okay, now how can be the ozone hole will be formed? Okay, there will be no ozone hole, just a thing. So see, this is what an ozone layer. So this is the ozone layer, just the concentration may be decreased, it is not an ozone hole. Okay, so this is what a thing I want to make sure. Okay, now ozone hole formation. Ozone depletion is most severe in the Antarctic region. How the ozone hole will be severe in the Antarctic region? This leads to the formation of large thinned area. So this thinned area is called as an ozone hole. It is not exactly the hole that you are imagining. Okay, so it is a thinned area. Now UV radiation penetration. Normally the UV radiation shorter than the UVB is absorbed by the ozone layer. See, there is an UV radiation will be there. So UV radiation shorter than this UVB is absorbed by the ozone layer. As the, when ozone is depleting, this UVB is reaching the earth's surface. You mean what is happening when it is leads to the UV, when it is reaching the hand, it results in the genetic damage. Okay, so it is results in the genetic damage. So obviously this UV rays B, this is going to damage the DNA and it will induce many mutations. It is very carcinogenic. Okay, so this results in the skin disorders. Okay, so this results in the skin disorders. It causes the skin aging and it damages the skin cells, and it also results in the various types of skin cancers. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, this UV radiation will be shorter than the UVB. Okay, and this UVB will be absorbed more by this ozone layer. As this UVB is absorbed more by this ozone layer, so whenever this ozone is getting depleting, this UVB will be released from the ozone layer and it is reaching the earth's surface. When in the earth's surface human is living, so now this in the human, this UVB will damaging the DNA. It is caused many mutations, it is inducing the many mutations. So as a result, it is very carcinogenic. Okay, so that is skin aging, damages to skin cells, various types of skin cancers as a result of this UVB. Okay, now eye damage. How the eye is getting damaged? Cornea absorbs the UVB radiation. High doses causes the inflammation of this cornea. Okay, so high dose of this UVB radiation, this results in the inflammation of the cornea. So this condition is called as the snow blindness. Okay, cataracts will be there. So all these things will the it is going to affect the eye, condition of the eye. So this leads to permanent corneal damage. Okay, so this is what with respect to the seventh question. Now the last question will be the discuss the cause and effects of the depletion of ozone in the stratosphere. Again the same thing. Okay, so that's all about this short answer question with respect to this ecology and environment chapter. We'll meet you in the next session. Okay, thank you.